Hello. So these Dirty John series that have aired, I hope if you haven't watched them, you need to. There's two of them, and so far, and I've watched them both. And the one I'm discussing today, Betty Broderick. Do you remember? If you're older, if you're my age, you remember the story. It was all over the news. I remember it being all over the news, the whole case. It was quite a story. And her husband, and you can tune in for the details, but basically the husband really does a number on her psychologically. Now, did she lose it and kill him and his wife? Yes. Was that an unnecessary action? Absolutely. That's never where one of us wants ourselves to go, or nobody wants anything to end like that. The story, however, does illustrate the extreme feelings of despondence and despair that a victim can feel at the hands of a lying narcissist. When you watch interviews with Betty Broderick, which I've watched many, many, many of them, and I remember them when they were out. And then when I watched the series, I was in a loop of her interviews for a long time. She just never seemed even slightly remorseful or regretful, or like she wished she didn't do it, or she thought she shouldn't have done it, or she was that angry. And you know what it is? She snapped. And you know when she snapped? They do a great job in the series of letting you know when she snapped. Now, none of us were in their household, but when they show him lying to her, Amanda Peet does a brilliant job. Her whole face changes. And Amanda Peet's a beautiful girl. She twists that face up, and she just, you can see it. Her whole insides shatter, and she's a shell of a human. When she says about, they're in the hallway, and she's trying to challenge him, and she asks him things, and she's outside. There's all these different spots. She's outside and asks him things. And when he lies to her, you see her face. It is the lie, in my opinion, that makes the woman snap. Now, I'm not saying that it wouldn't be hurtful, narcissist or not, for your husband to come home and sit you down on the couch and grab your hand and say, honey, we've had a great run. I've loved our life together. Thank you for these beautiful children. Unfortunately, I'm here to tell you, I haven't done anything, but I'm starting to have feelings in this direction over here for this girl, and I think we should separate. There's no lie. It's not deceit. I bet she would have handled it differently. She would have been crushed, maybe cried for 3 years. It's her husband. She worked to help put him through 2 different kinds of schools, medical and law. I'd be a little bitter too. And he was a jerk, the way he handled her. But her psychotic behavior absolutely was the result of her psychotic break snapping at the lie. You see it happen, and you hear it when you watch her real interviews. Because she's just so far gone at being deceived that there's never going to be anything that she's going to accept as, okay, well, this was my fault, though maybe I took it too far. You think? You don't want to be driving your car through the front door of your narcissist house, where he lives with his new wife. just not a good idea. But I and you and anyone that's been in a relationship with a narcissist knows that they can make you crazy enough that you do things, and you've probably done it yourself, that you do things, however small, maybe not drive your car through somebody's house or, kill them with a gun, but you do things, however, that are not your personality. They make us nuts. I behaved in ways, and I have had times in my life where I've been very, very much full of a temper. When I was younger, I had no control. I mean, I would just fly. I was nervous in college. I would be stressed. I would fly off the handle. I mean, it was, you get control of those things as you get older. But with the narcissist, I didn't recognize myself. Nuts. And she is responsible for her own action. Don't get me wrong. What she did was 100% wrong. Not even forgivable. She took those kids' father away. She put herself in prison. So what? Her kids. Do you know what I mean? Unforgivable what she did. But she snapped because of the gaslighting. The lie and then the gaslighting is what I didn't really finish 3 minutes ago. It's that when he lies to her, and then he starts to try to make her feel like she's going crazy. She knew. You know when your man is stepping out. Maybe some people don't. I don't mean to say that. There are plenty of women that are unaware, and they go through life unaware, whether they are really unaware or try to pretend they're unaware for the sake of peace. I don't know. I guess we'll never know. But you can see on the actress's face that she's portraying that moment. And I really do think it's that moment for all of us, that they lie and then make us feel crazy. That is the entire crux of the disorder to me. That is the worst part. You go through life, people fall out of love and fall in love with other people. That's why people have second marriages and that stuff happens. All the time. All the time. You get over it, right? You get divorced, you both move on, you get over it. You maybe meet new people, maybe you don't, maybe you do I don't know, but you get over it. When you are made to think you're nuts, and somebody that you built a life with looks you right in your face and says, nope, you're crazy. You're psychotic. How could you think that? And then she starts to think she's psychotic. The anguish, again, Amanda P., it's striking to me because I've always liked her, been a fan of hers for decades, seen a lot of the stuff she's been in. She's always a beautiful, beautiful girl. She really captures the devastation that you feel and the anguish that we feel when you know the answer to a question before you ask it, and then you get the wrong answer. You know you're getting a lie because you know the answer to the question. You're asking it to give your partner a chance, aren't you? And he still lied to her, and then he still made her nuts. It just kills. She thought she was going crazy, and he made her think that. It's infuriating. I think inside she snapped. She broke inside. And she never, I don't think she ever, I don't know now, but I don't think she ever got well. From all the interviews that I saw, I didn't see her ever regretful. She was still angry and talking about it like, well, he did this and never. It's like at some point, don't you look at yourself and say, oh my God, I took my child's father. I landed their mother in jail forever. Their stepmother's dead. Like, who's going to take care of these kids? She doesn't ever really address that. That's how far she snapped. And the reason I wanted to point this show out is I think that we all need to watch it. Because both of them, and I'll do another video on the other one because that's interesting too. I think that this is an extreme example, yes, but you can see in the show, in the series, even once they were breaking up, he gives her a little, he feeds her a little, like they have one conversation where she talks about something they knew in common or whatever, and she's laying on the bed, and he's laughing, and he makes not an inside joke, but a joke they used to have, and he says, oh yeah, well, you know, why are you doing that? So you're still trying to charm her? You're still trying to make her think, like that makes a victim think there's hope. Right? When they do anything like that, when they stop with their incessant torturous behavior and they give us something nice, or they say something nice, or they have a smile, or they do a joke, or they spend a half hour on the phone with you being their charming old fake self, the narcissist, the victim gets very confused with that behavior. And it really can manipulate the victim into thinking, okay, so maybe it's not over. And yet then she's looking at him cheating with this girl, falling in love, he finally tells her. And of course that's going to crush somebody. Of course it's going to crush somebody. And he didn't handle the divorce very nicely either. He could have been a lot nicer. My ex-husband was stellar. Perfect. I mean, he didn't want to get... I don't think he was even expecting it when I said we need to get a divorce. He was stellar about it. Stellar. Best divorce ever. Because we were concentrating on what was good for the daughter. A narcissist doesn't concentrate on anything but themselves. So he was making it difficult because he's not thinking of the children, and she's making it difficult because she lost her mind. So she wasn't thinking of the kids either. She was only thinking of her own pain. I suppose that's a narcissistic quality. She only had herself on her mind, but she lost her mind. It's still unforgivable. I'm sorry. If you are in a state of fury right now, somebody's got to be watching this who just now found out something they knew was true and was lied to about. Somebody right now is finding out that everything they thought, it has been happening behind their back. Somebody right now is being made to think they're nuts for thinking and having suspicions even. That's the real killer. I love when they do that. They try to act so righteous, and how dare you even have that suspicion. Meanwhile, they've been doing it the whole time. Of course that's going to make someone nuts. I don't know. I don't know Betty Broderick. Maybe she was a little unwell before that. Maybe she had some... It didn't seem like it. They portray her as being the wife, the mother, the house taker, the keeper, the caretaker of the family, you know what I mean? But maybe she was a little bit just below unglued to begin with. I have no idea. But please, please, for the love of Blanche, do not allow their gaslighting to make you that crazy that you are going to inflict harm on anything that's going to inflict harm on like your life is going to be in shambles. Do you know what I'm saying? Even light domestic violence is unacceptable. 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 I wish I could infuse into all of you going through this right now, because the fury is real that you feel when they gaslight you, when they lie to you, and you know it's the truth. Oh my God, I can feel it right now like it happened yesterday. And you want to go nuts. I wish I could infuse into all of you a strength, a superior strength, rise above it, a way to make you feel just rise above it. Don't sink to the level of them. Don't go into the trenches with them. That's what Betty Broderick did. She went into the trenches with his behavior. And she lost. To this day, she thinks she won because he's dead. She feels, that's the feeling I got. She feels like, well, he got his. So did that wife. Did they? And what did the wife do? Even if they had their fights and they were doing their nasties back and forth with whatever, nobody deserved to be killed. Nobody deserves any kind of physical domestic violence ever. And even to allow you and help you to save face, if that's happening to you, I'm telling you that I wish at this point, honestly, but it would have been possible for me because I'm way too emotional. But I wish when I found stuff out, I would have just said, okay, well, that suits you. The whole behavior suits you. I'm not surprised. I was slumming it. Now we're done. I'm not slumming it anymore. And we're breaking up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I wish that I could infuse some kind of steady, rock solid strength for all of us. Should we ever encounter it again? I'm hoping if I ever encounter it again, I handle myself better. I went berserk. Yeah. I mean, I didn't, that's berserk what she did. I'm not saying that, like, obviously. But it's very understandable to me how she felt. Not what she did, but how she felt. And we've all felt it. But watch how you react, because that is the only thing we can control. We can't control what they do. We can control what we do. Betty Broderick could have controlled what she did. She could have controlled her reaction. You can't control your emotions. You're going to get crazy. You need to scream into a pillow. You need to go off and cry with your friends for 3 days straight. You need to pig out. You need to not eat. You need to go running. You need to be lazy on the couch. Whatever you need to do to get through it, you get through a breakup, right? Or deceit. And the gaslighting and whatever that they put you through. But to lower ourselves into the trenches and react in the way that brings, you can't turn that around. She can't come back from that. She's in prison the rest of her life and 2 people are dead. It can escalate very quickly to that. So I encourage you, if you are in the middle of getting that handed to you, all of that situation, try to find some reserve, some grace, some strength. Leave the house. Do something that allows you to keep your composure. That would be the lesson I would take from Betty Broderick. Composure. Keep composure.